Redefining Poverty, a quantitative look at capabilities by Ashley Faulkner and Cole Rosenberger.
When you ask someone on the street what they think poverty is, you get responses like people on welfare,
Those who don't have any money.
homeless people.
There is far more to poverty than these stereotypes. By certain definitions, far more people are living in poverty than you would expect.
Many poverty measurements, including that of the United States, only worry about income lowness. This is due, in part, to a fallacy of measurement in which people only tend to identify the issue by the easiest way to measure it. In this situation, people tend to only associate poverty with money because historically it has been this way, and it is hard to think of it in other terms. However, there is more needed to live a dignified life than just money, and if being impoverished means lacking dignity, then in addition to income, capabilities must be addressed.
For this reason, we decided to define poverty as lacking sufficient economic resources, as well as the capabilities necessary to live a moderately dignified life.
We chose to define poverty by this definition because we feel that many of Nussbaum's 10 central capabilities, alongside the monetary issues, are essential in measuring inadequacies in human dignity.
Having money is useless if you don't have the capabilities to use it. For example, if you make a sizable income compared to those in your community but aren't allowed to spend it because of your religion or gender, you aren't meeting your basic needs. The vice versa is also true. Being able to participate in the economy by law is met by your capabilities, but without the monetary funds, you are unable to. We feel that a portion of the issues facing those impoverished can be solved through monetary means, the best measurement for this being the supplemental poverty measure, referred to from here on out as the SPM.
However, this is only half of the story in the issue of poverty. Human capabilities must be addressed in order for one to have a dignified life. These issues, as explained later, are best approached through public policy, community programs, and legislation.
The SPM looks at the sum of cash income plus in-kind benefits that families can use to meet their SCSU needs, which stands for food, clothing, shelter, and utilities, minus taxes, work expenses, and out-of-pocket medical expenses.
This threshold is set at the 33rd percentile of the FCSU costs for families with exactly 2 children and then multiplied by 1.2. To put this in simple terms, those whose material earnings fall in the lowest 1/3 of the national standard are considered to be in poverty.
We feel that it is a more accurate depiction of economic poverty as compared to the official poverty measure, referred from here on out as the OPM, which only takes into account antiquated food cost as a threshold for poverty.
When the OPM was created, food was thought to be the largest portion of a family's income. Therefore, Molly Orshansky, the creator of the OPM, found it reasonable to simply multiply average food costs by 3. Since the 60s, food prices have dramatically dropped, making food account for approximately 1/6 of a family's budget. As a result, the OPM sets the threshold at possibly half the financial need of those impoverished.
The SPM takes into account information that is lacking from the OPM.
For example, the SPM takes into account in-kind benefits, such as housing and SNAP, and near-cash benefits, including tax credits.
It also takes into account cohabitation, which is far more prevalent in today's society than in 1963, when the OPM was originally formulated. The SPM takes into account information that is lacking from the OPM.
For example, the SPM takes into account in-kind benefits such as housing and SNAP, and near-cash benefits including tax credits.
It also takes into account cohabitation, which is much more prevalent in today's society than in 1963, when the OPM was formulated. The benefits of the SPM can be seen in the following situation. Imagine Sam has a chronic illness that requires medication and experimental procedures not covered by insurance. With the OPM, the medical out-of-pocket expenses aren't taken into consideration, so even though this expense makes it impossible for Sam to meet his needs, he is not impoverished. However, the SPM takes into account that Sam has to spend a large portion of his income on his health and is able to account for that in the benefits he receives.
As we said earlier, there is more to poverty than money.
For one to have a dignified life, we believe they must possess a certain set of capabilities.
Capabilities are the things people are able to be and do, given their circumstances. It is their choice to actually complete the actions, also known as functionings, but their capabilities offer the opportunity.
We choose the following set of capabilities because we felt they were integral in living a dignified life.
The first central capability is life. This includes the assurance that one can live to a reasonable age. We chose to include what Nussbaum considers bodily health under the same category because we believe that if one is to live a long life, they have access to resources such as healthcare.
The next capability is bodily integrity, which includes protection of one's body from assault and the freedom to make your own decisions regarding sex and reproduction.
The next capability is senses, imagination, and thought, which includes one's right to education. Without the ability to learn, those in poverty cannot work their way towards a better life. There would be no progress in a nation that doesn't educate those who want to learn. This also covers religious freedom, which is protected by the American Bill of Rights.
Practical reason ensures that we are able to make our own conceptions of good and bad and have control in our life's pathway. This capability is important because without the ability to make your own decisions, there is no way to make improvement.
Affiliation is necessary because it is one's ability to interact in a society without discrimination. How can someone have dignity if they feel ashamed and can't participate in society? They can't.
In the United States, our laws don't necessarily protect emotions, but they protect actions that are usually associated with the ability to have emotions, such as love and grief. They also protect us from living in fear.
The last central capability, in our opinion, is control over one's environment. This is meant from a political and material standpoint. This again is covered mostly by the constitutional rights assured to all Americans. From a political standpoint, everyone is allowed to express their beliefs and vote if they are above the age of 18 and registered. In addition, materialistically, one has the right to own property and hold any job they are qualified for, regardless of race or gender. These capabilities are completely needed to not just live a dignified life, but are required for basic human rights. With the economic resources to support these capabilities, a person should not just survive but thrive in today's society.
As for Nussbaum's central capabilities of play and other species, we do not believe that they are absolutely necessary to live in a dignified life. The importance of them varies from individuals.
There is no perfect measurement for a threshold on capabilities. You can't say that Sally is in the third quintile for bodily health and the first quintile for practical reason. However, capabilities can be measured comparatively on a community level. For example, in regards to life, a city has life expectancies far below that of a national average. It can be assumed that those citizens don't have proper access to that capability. This can be improved by adding programs to promote well-being, such as self-defense and anti-tobacco initiatives. So by adding these programs, Sally would have clear improved capabilities, even if it cannot be exactly measured on a scale. The purpose is to help people, not worry about finding exact measurements. We don't view these central capabilities in the same light as Nussbaum. Nussbaum believes that herd 10 are vital to have a dignified life, and if you are lacking in any area, you are poor. However, we do believe that capabilities are stepping stones to a successful, dignified life. Therefore, it is not essential for all of these capabilities to be possessed in order to not be impoverished. There seems to be a reciprocal relationship between one's income and one's capabilities. If someone has income lowness, their capabilities are most likely not being met, and then if someone doesn't have the necessary capabilities, they usually will have a low income. The cyclic relationship supports our definition of poverty and the necessity to consider income lowness and capabilities to decide if someone has their sufficient needs met.
By working to improve the capabilities and income lowness of those in poverty, we can work to improve the stigma and dignity associated with poverty. In conclusion, by educating society to not view these people by their socioeconomic standing, we can work on eliminating some of the shame and lack of dignity felt by those in poverty.